He's a graduate of the U.S. Air Force Academy. He excelled as an organizational leadership as an Air Force officer, managing multiple simultaneous projects and managing the daily operations of hundreds of individuals and millions of dollars in specialized equipment. After leaving the military unexpectedly for medical reasons, Jason broadened his industry experience as a manufacturing process engineer at General Electric. And for those of you that don't know that, that was the epitome of excellence in the manufacturing. That was where my degree was. So Jason's enterprise sales career began with Red Hat Software as a new business development rep in his hometown of Atlanta. Since then, he's driven sales and developed business development plans for IBM and Fiserv, where the strategies designed and executed consistently yielded revenue and attainment in excess of 300% of target, while creating multiple loyal reference clients for his companies. He founded Sigree LLC in 2016. Did I pronounce that right?
That's correct.
As an alternative to traditional strategic consulting for small businesses in Atlanta. Excuse me. In 2018, Sigree was selected as an affiliate of Aspen Training and Development to deliver their 23-year training curriculum to major enterprises globally with companies like SolarWind, KVH, Clear, and American Airlines. He serves as a city leader for Bunker Labs, a national nonprofit supporting veteran entrepreneurs. For the past 3 years, Jason served as an associate instructor for the Atlanta chapter of 4 Block, providing career transition training for veterans in and out and leaving higher education. Let's give it up for Jason Smith.
You know, it's weird. I actually do a lot of introductions in the nonprofit world for speakers and things like that, and they always give us their bios. And I always feel weird having to read that form. Now I'm sitting there hearing mine read all long form like that. I know I've got to shorten that down quite a bit.
It's all right.
It's just hard. It just feels very weird when you hear your whole life story being poured out that way. But again, thank you all so much for your time. I really loved it the first time I came here. There's a lot of great energy here, and I appreciate it. But Bob asked me to speak and told me I had to give a title to this speech that we're giving. You know, I saw the last individual speak here, and I came up with this title of 21st Century Sales. I didn't give a title to a speech before, but why does it matter? You know, what would I speak to a group like this about in the sales arena? You heard my background and what I did, and I figured the best thing to do is the same thing I do for all the large clients that you heard in that very long, that I'm going to shorten down bio, that we don't go around standing on some ivory tower of knowledge talking about this is what you need to do in sales, but we facilitate great conversations. Everybody in this room has been in their industries for a long time, or some people just starting a new venture, but we've got lots of experience. So rather than standing here and preach, let's facilitate a conversation. Can we do that? Let's just talk about sales and kind of where it came from. And to do that, I'm going to start off by just telling you a little bit about my story. You got all the bio stuff, but I'll tell you kind of what was driving that. You can imagine a guy like me who was thinking about being career military. I didn't have any idea in my mind of ever doing sales. It's like a dirty word, right? In fact, a lot of people here probably still don't think of themselves as salespeople. Does anybody go out and introduce themselves and say, no, I don't do sales, I'm in mortgages? Did anybody say something like that? No, I do home inspections, I'm not a salesperson. Huh? Anybody? Sales still got a stigma to it, right? People kind of don't like to refer to themselves out there, but I realized that everybody's already doing it. That GE thing was my first job out of the military. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I decided since I was an operator in the military as an officer, I'll go out and do something in manufacturing, but it just didn't suit me. And somebody said you'll be good at it, but I was like, no, I don't do sales. It's nasty, it's dirty, I don't like it. But when I finally was out of options and I stumbled backwards into working for Home Depot, selling roofing, siding, and gutters, I was door to door helping mom and dad, I started to fall in love with it. Did anybody do a door to door job back in the day? Somebody, hands up? What did you work on door to door? What did you do?
Pest control.
Pest control. Going out to mom and pop selling pest control. Who else raised their hand? Yeah?
Private education.
You were selling private education door to door.
And I was in Philadelphia in the neighborhood, and it was way overpriced. And
Wow.
So I got out. I think I lasted a month.
It was rough, right? Who else raised their hand? Yeah? What did you do?
in real estate. I used to go actually knocking on doors of houses that had expired to help them get their house sold.
Yeah, you probably more recently than most, but back in the day. Yeah, oh, one more, what did you do door to door?
When I first started in the financial industry, there were Jones, they made us knock on their doors.
How about that? And you know what, there's still companies out there doing that, and they're still being successful. I'll get back to that in just a minute. Kind of part of where we're going. But for those of y'all that did that before, what was the method they taught you? How did they tell you to be successful in sales or in any kind of sales? What did they tell you? It was all about what?
The numbers.
The numbers, volume, knock on a bunch of doors, just drive through there, you do your work and get your foot in the door, don't take no for an answer. Do you remember that? Yeah? How many of y'all remember that type of person being your first experience as a customer with a salesperson? Yeah? Some guy came up to you, what was that story? You're laughing about it. What was your experience with a salesman?
He was selling Bibles, so, you know.
Selling Bibles?
Or no, encyclopedias.
Okay.
I was the guy selling the encyclopedia.
You did encyclopedias, that was yours.
10 cents a day.
And what was it was like, he was not gonna leave you alone till he got that ink on the paper, was that right?
Pretty close.
How to make, was that full price?
Garage.
Fuller Brush Man.
Ooh, yeah.
That's right. Everybody, the Willie Loman, right, door to door.
I watched my mother say no more times than she ever said to her husband.
I'll show you one more, this is a heartbreaker. This was a heartbreaker. Anybody know the big Kirby vacuums? The big-
$4,000
Yeah,
vacuums.
$1,000, real heavy. We were in Illinois at the time, man. Just got out of the military. And this little 60-pound girl came out with this 80-pound vacuum cleaner trying to sell it. And she said, we'll do one room for free. And we had this great room that's as big as maybe 2 of these rooms at the moment, right? We were just renting. You know? We were not living in Hamilton Hall, but this is a huge room. We'll do one room for free so you can see what it can do. And she lugged this thing around and vacuumed the whole floor. And we kept telling her, no, we can't, no, we can't. And when we said no at the end, she was literally in tears. Manager got out of the car. I was heartbroken. I really was. I felt bad for her. We didn't buy that vacuum cleaner. But it made me see like what she was trying to do by just grinding through that and the effort that everybody went through. And she was so close. We were the one sale she could have made to hit some bonus or whatever. And she didn't get it. Felt bad. The point I'm making about all of this, that old school paradigm of sales, the effort on the salesman, kind of made everything back then, and we're talking a few decades back, very impersonal. It was about you go out, do all this hard work, and the pain and suffering of working like that translated to a lack of empathy for the customer, right? And the reason they could do it and still be successful was one thing: we didn't know any better. When that guy knocked on the door and started talking about his product, did you have any information? Did you know anything about what they were talking about? Not at all. But it started to change over a while. Now, what changed all of that? What made that information gap start to close? The internet. Yeah. Who buys something now without knowing about it? Raise your hand if you like to go in ignorant before you talk to a salesman. Laughable now, right? It's laughable. But it made all that stuff we were doing before less effective. People nowadays can't go out and just talk about their product and feel like people are going to listen to them and trust them, because they know that as soon as they finish, they can just go on the internet and look it up themselves. Right? What was the last product someone bought? Someone tell me a story about the last thing you bought that you did some research to get. Car, fridge, anything.
Cell phone.
Cell phone. What'd you do?
I went on the internet.
Yeah? Did you go to talk to a salesman at all?
No, I read reviews.
Read reviews? You read all the information?
And price.
Did you comparison everything?
Yeah,
Did you
yeah.
comparison shopping? Lined up all the features and then looked at price after that?
I kind of looked at what I wanted and I was happy with that.
Gotcha. But the salesman wasn't even in it.
No.
What does that mean for all of us though? That means that now we're less valuable. And the products, because everybody, the way the human brain works, just for y'all that never thought about this, we work as difference engines. Our brains work that way. The way we perceive things is we perceive change and we look for comparisons. So we always want to get down to where we can take two things side by side, list out all the features, and go yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, price. We want to do that difference engine thing, and now that gives us the power to do that. We don't need that salesman to do it. The differentiator now is the salesperson, is the person that's selling it. That old paradigm of information and your knowledge and your product being the thing, now the messenger is the message. That's the new paradigm in the 21st century. That everybody's looking for the person who they're talking to make them feel good about the decision they're about to make. They see all these numbers. They see all the stuff on the matrix of this product versus that product. But what do I feel best about? We all make decisions based on what first? Heart or the head?
Heart.
The heart. Make decisions with our emotions first, and then we justify it with logic. We rationalize. Sometimes we tell ourselves rational lies to make up for it. Oh, but mama, I love him. He'll change, I promise. Because they're committed to it emotionally. That poor girl, she wanted me to love that Kirby vacuum so much that I didn't rationalize the cost. I just didn't have the money. But that's what we're trying to do now as people in the sales world. Now, what does that mean to us? I'm talking from a perspective of enterprise sales and all that. How does that translate down to us in the room with lifestyle businesses? I mean, we're not all trying to make $1 billion doing what we do. It'd be nice to have, but we're not trying to grow global enterprises. These are lifestyle businesses here, right? What does that mean for us? We are already doing the relationship thing. We know that most of our business comes from referral. We already know that we really want to connect to the people we work with, and we want them to tell our friends about them. We never strayed from that, did we? That's why we don't even consider ourselves salespeople. Here's the new thing that changed, right? Would you consider this relationship stuff that I'm talking about an art or a science? Which would you call it?
Art.
Art. Why would you say that? Why would you say it's more art, building relationships and making people feel great? Why is that so art?
The science tends to be numerical, hard, fast,
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah.
The art is taking that and humanizing it.
Correct.
Making it real.
Yeah, certainly, I agree. That's completely accurate and as good as a definition as anything. It really is intuitive. It's not one of those things that you either get or you don't. You can't develop that skill of being able to build relationships. There are some things you can work on and practice. But it's very artistic, it's very fluid. And those of us who've been at this game a long time, we kind of do it without ever writing down our process of how we do it. We just kind of know, right? If you ask some great running back now, even though he started off with science, some of the stuff he does on the football field is just fluid and artistic. He doesn't have to think about it. And we don't spend a lot of time writing down what our process to guide people through a conversation happens to be. And that's the science piece that most of us in this room don't really spend a lot of time on. I'll tell you a story for me on the art. The reason I fell in love with sales is that first job, selling door to door, I was going into people's homes, sitting down with mom and dad across the table, helping them to make the best decisions they could about how to improve their most valuable asset in their home, in their baby sleep. And I felt like I was doing something really special for them, really helping them out. And that service that I had in the military, that mindset, got to come out as I sat down across from them, helped them to make great decisions. And I felt great about that. It was artistic and it was fluid. And I had a great relationship with people. And I was a top performer in the organization. But the other piece of it is, if you're going to be in sales, you have to guide someone through the decisions they have to make. And the problem is now, we're all very much distracted by all kinds of stuff. And the line between marketing and sales is getting blurred to where people can't just focus on what you tell them anymore. You need a process to guide people through what you tell them in that moment and what they're going to do after you leave. Because they're going to be bombarded with all kinds of stuff right now that's going to distract them. Who gets this in the mail all the time, every day, right? What do you call this right here?
Trash.
Trash, right? Well, what category in terms of business activities would you call this? Is this marketing or sales? What is it?
That's marketing.
That's marketing. This is marketing, right? But we're informed consumers now. This is, back to our title there, 21st century selling. We're all informed. When you get this wonderful thing, 70% off, we're doing you a favor. We're giving you this discount. We've sent this to you to remind you. In the back of your mind, when you see this wonderful offer, you as an informed 21st century consumer are saying, they're just trying to sell me something. That line between marketing and sales is completely blurred. And people are getting hit with it all the time. So now, bring this full circle for you, the stuff we do in the art side, where we're building relationships, and we're having coffees, and we're talking, we're smiling, we're being genuine, because we really feel it. I really start to feel it, helping people at their kitchen tables with their siding and gutters. People leave, we leave them, and they know in the back of their mind that he's just trying to sell me something. That line between care, the art, is getting blurred by everything that's happened in the 21st century on the outside. The division, the divisiveness, and all the competition is making everybody feel like they're all out to get me. It's really hard now to get people to sit down and trust you, unless you have some real solid process. Right now, the art isn't as valuable without the science. So here's the part of the open, collaborative conversation. I'll ask the room. Somebody tell me, what are some of the things you do to make sure the people take steps afterwards? What are your sales process? Who's ever used that word in their business? Sales process. Someone tell me about your sales process. Does anyone have one? Anyone have one you're so clear about you're willing to share? What's your sales process? We're talking about photography here, right?
Yeah.
So what's your sales process for photography?
It's trying to empathetically, if you use that word, educate whoever my new friend is. Because if I haven't made a friendship, even if it's just a short one, I'm not going to tell anything to anybody.
Yeah.
And I have a couple of rules that I explain to them when we get into it and we're having a good time or not. Well, if you decide you are going to use my abilities as a photographer, I have one rule. I have a rule? Yes, I have a rule. We will have a good time. And if you're not having, if somebody's not having a good time, it won't be me because I love what I'm doing. And usually, if we've gotten that far, that works. Sometimes it doesn't, but that's true of all kinds. But that's one of the things that I do.
Gotcha. Anyone else? What's your sales process? Meet a client and then what?
I can't tell you how much I appreciate what you're telling the group. You know, I'm not gonna talk long because I'm capable of doing that, but 50 years in selling and marketing and ran divisions and so forth. And to me, it had a little bit to do with product knowledge and service. It had a lot to do with relationships.
Yeah.
And one of the things I'm trying to bring out of people is the celebrity inside of them that will attract people. If you're not a celebrity, you're a commodity. And people, like, you're right on with, you know, they have a lot of information available to them outside of the salespeople. The salesperson has got to be somebody that is interesting and projects, you know, knowledge and concern, and they want to help. And I think that is, and I'm working with a lot of people over the years to bring that out, and I brought that out in a number of people, or helped them bring it out, not me, they had to do the homework.
Amen.
But you're so right on. I want to take you to dinner.
You got it. I'll let you buy me dinner. That being said, here's
How do you like Big Macs, okay?
There, I'm good with Big
No,
Macs.
I'll take it
So,
there.
in this last 3 minutes, I'm going to share with you a little bit about sales process, just as a takeaway for everybody in this room. We're all lifestyle businesses. We all want to make sure we got something. So, if you want to take this down, go ahead, write this. I want you to think of this real simple. Sales process. Y'all can write it down. I won't be mad. Sales process defines what you should be doing now and what you should be doing next, based on what your customer needs to make a good decision. What you should be doing right now and what you should be doing next to make sure your customer makes a good decision. A good decision for them, even if that means walking away from you and your product, okay? And you're going to have to define that yourself. It's great if you'll find yourself a coach who can help you lay that out, someone who has experience in building out a process. And I mean process like meet client, have a great initial meeting, gather information, deliver information, follow up on this day with this piece of information because this is what you heard, then get them to come to this event. After this event, you're going to have another proposal sent to them. Those steps on what you should be doing next. You're going to have to define that yourself, okay? Number two, in this case of each individual meeting that you have, you want to apply this 4-step formula to every meeting you have and keep that mindset to the whole process you build out across however many days or weeks it takes you to guide them to their decision. Every time you meet with them, and in the course of your sales process, you want to do 4 things. Engage. That means connect, that art part, where you become that celebrity, where you become that trusted advisor that they want to get your input. Engage with them. Get connected to them heart to heart, person to person. Then you want to discover, understand everything you need to know about their problems, about their needs, so that whatever you suggest to them is in their best interest, and they trust that that's why you're giving them the information. Discover. The next thing you want to do is determine what the next step will be and build value with them in that next step. Help them to believe that the next step you're going to propose to them is the right best step for them, and before you break with them, before you walk away, get that commitment to advance. Advance with a commitment that they're going to take that next step after you walk away. Engage, discover, build value, and advance. Those 4 things are the basis of any sales process you need. Because I think you already understand the heart. We got to start to apply the head in the 21st century. Because all this stuff is all in your way. And with without the science now, the art that you already know and practice won't be as effective. Again, my name is Jason Smith. The name of my company is Secret LLC. That stands for Creativity is the Greatest Rebellion in Existence. You can hate the way your business is going, you can hate the way the world is going, or you can rebel against that status quo and create something better. I help people to do that. And I work with Aslan Training and Development. That 4-step process is part of their 23-year curriculum. If you'd like some more information about what they do, it's tailored for larger businesses, but I'm willing to help anybody understand these concepts. Reach out to me at this card should you need it, or pass it on to anyone you like. I'm always looking to speak to other large groups like this to help understand how they can grow their business through sales. Thanks so much, Bob.
You bet, thank you. How about questions for Jason?